All right, everybody, welcome to the Stephen Bones Everything podcast. It's been a while since we've done like an interview format one. And so the first time I did like a video edition of this podcast, the interview version, I brought on this guy called Sim Tong. And tonight, like it's MCO, we can't go anywhere, so I did I'm really itching to like do this again. So I was thinking like, okay, who do I call? Who do I call? Like I was like, you know what? The first time I did video, I called Sim Tong. Why not the first time I do this via this like online platform thing? Why not let's just reach out for Sim Tong again, and just go for that. Yeah. So Sim Tong, thanks so much for like being
Hi
willing to do
everybody.
this.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Also,
And
I when I get your message, I feel a bit excited. I'm like, oh, okay, here's somebody I enjoy talking to. It's like highlight of the day.
so right, and it's so random because like I literally just texted you like what 10-15 minutes ago.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Right? And I was
that's
like,
right.
hey, dude, bro, you free? Are you doing anything tonight? I was like, no, what's up? Live stream again? No, lah, bro, I want to do a pre-recorder. Oh, gosh. Okay, but let me tell you, like, why I want to do this, right? Because the reason I haven't been doing, like, the interview style podcast episodes has been because, like, I felt it wouldn't be doable, through this online kind of vibe. Because like the nice thing we had last time was that, okay, like guests would come to my house, they come to my studio, the room, and like it's got that dim lighting thing, is that ugly ass table, the tea,
The
and
nice
it's just
tea. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just two people locked up in a room talking to each other, and that's it. No distractions, right? No phones ringing, no one knocking the door, no notifications, no worry about what am I gonna do for my kids or whatever kind of thing. So, it was
Speaking of which,
ah
let me just find my phone and turn off the volume. This is how prepared we are actually.
this is exactly why I didn't want to do like this thing like.
Okay. I'm ready
No,
now.
no worries. Nah, just kidding.
Okay.
All right, yeah, but it was that, right? The fact that you had that physical thing where like two people were in a room talking to each other and letting the conversation flow with no real agenda going on, right? Like no like I want to ask him this, and he wants to find out this, and he wants to promote this. No, actually, there's none of that, right? So I was very concerned when this MCO kept getting extended, because like can I still do this style of podcast? Because like the audio is a big thing, it's a big thing for me lah. And the whole vibe of this is a big thing as well. So yeah, I finally decided maybe I should do it lah. Maybe I should just give it a try. So I thought you would be the perfect person to like try it on. I'm sorry, but you
the perfect guinea pig.
yeah. No, because like with you, I know that like on a crap day, right? I know we can like just talk for like hours on end, no problem, right?
Yeah.
But it's that lah. It's but the one thing I wanted to maintain was the lack of an audience when we were talking.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think once your live stream, which at the moment happens daily, right? Daily at 2 p.m., where you like talk to comedians, it's called checking in on funny people, correct? Yeah. So when I saw your live stream, it kind of like it gave me that bug again, like it inspired me back, lah.
Right.
I was like, yeah, actually, I do miss like this, like talking to people and all that. But
You know what I did today?
what?
I because I wanted to tell. I started today's one like just me talking. I'm talking about my live stream today this afternoon. I started it with just me talking into the camera, and then one of my friends in the chat said like, bring me on." Then I brought him on. So it went like a bit chaotic after that. But I started with me talking into the camera, so kind of like a podcast, the way when we do the solo podcast.
Yeah.
And I wanted to tell a story. I didn't want to be distracted by the comments, so I did my the trick that I did at the open mics, couple like last week and the week before.
The virtual open mics.
The virtual open mics, where I put the paper, the paper where my notes are over the comments, So I was actually ignoring the comments. I was feeling bad about it. I was like, okay, get finish the story so that you can see who is there and say hi to them. So there is that pressure to to not
Right?
ignore them. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It's really weird because like it's a live stream, and I understand that people love to interact and all this kind of stuff. But somehow like for us, right, we can actually completely ignore the comments if you want to, but the fact that the comments are running, it makes it extremely hard for us to ignore.
yeah.
Yeah, which I mean, again, comes back to why I want to do this like pre-recorded,
Uh-huh.
because like previously the one I used to do, like there was no audience, what, right? We were aware that
Yeah.
there was a camera there, that this was going to be broadcasted,
Mhm.
but we weren't playing and feeding off to a live audience kind of thing.
Sometimes I
Where
even forget that the camera was there. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly, which was the best
yeah,
part, which was like for me, that was the best part of it because like it became like just two people talking to each other like regular humans
yeah,
lah, without like any awareness of like other distractions and stuff. So with this, yeah, that's why I made a conscious decision to say like, you know what, um, I want to do this like offline. I want to not like offline, but I don't want to do this live, because I don't want an audience
yeah.
reacting
I
or.
feel like I unplugged my mic.
Oh yeah, I think you did, man. I think you did.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Your no,
Oh,
your mic is still not working. I can hear you, but your mic is not working.
oh no!
I think
What
you're
did I
gonna
do?
plug it back in, and then go
Oh,
to
down
the
here.
settings. Yeah.
Okay, it's down here. Yeah. Right. Sorry about that.
Ah, there we go.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, like the whole point of me, like the reason I enjoyed my old podcast was because it's two people just talking to each other with no interference, right? So which was a big driver for me to do this,
Yeah.
uh, pre-recorded without any bloody comments, whatever. Not that I don't appreciate it, but it's just that like sometimes you just want to
This.
talk to one person
Yeah.
and not have it
Yeah.
be a show lah, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah. Yeah.
know?
It's
Yeah.
too. Sometimes it's too. Uh, it's too much to explain. Like you're having this conversation, all of a sudden you're having this conversation, and then you gotta
Yeah.
go back and say, okay, to the podcast listeners, this is what's happening. I got distracted by Mike Sadi's comment, and then this he said this, and then I said that, right? Yeah,
Has to be Mike Sadi.
I don't know.
It
He
probably
was,
is though.
yeah. He was actually watching my stream this afternoon, and then I was like, okay, I'm done talking. I'm just gonna run some jokes through. I did my own open mic on my on my stream today, where I just did my jokes to the audience. And then Mike is like, I got feedback for you. I'm like, okay, Mike, here's the link. Come on in. And then he
Oh
came
man.
into the stream. Yeah. So it's kind of like it's so casual now that it's kind of like just bring anybody you want. There's no format to my thing anymore.
And this is like on a live stream, right? So this is
Right,
like
right.
in the most traditional sense of the word, this is broadcast. Right?
Yeah, it's like on TV stations, like like if you see like let's say Norm Macdonald dropping in
Yeah.
on Conan, the whole thing was set up. That his people called their people like weeks before, and they arranged like we're gonna be here this day, even though
Yeah.
like they pretend like they just walked in, right? But
Yeah.
like this is literally like, oh, okay, Mike, you really want to come on? Okay, sure, come on in, and then he comes on, yeah.
So like okay, like how did it go? It turned into, it started as a live stream of you doing a solo podcast, and then reacting to the comments, and then like doing your stand up material, and then like suddenly like you brought another comedian on, and it became a workshop. Is that what happened?
It was before Mike came on. Yeah, that was the towards the end, and then before that, it was actually another of my friend when he saw like, oh, you're doing a solo, bring me on, bring me on. It wasn't a comedian; it was just one of my friends who's like, I can be funny, bring me on. And I'm like, oh, whoa, wait. Let me just get through what I wanted to say first, and then I'll bring you on. that is that is how much planning goes into my live stream.
Well, to be fair, like very little planning goes into most live streams. I'm on a few, and like, no, yeah, there's very little planning. Yeah, there's a lot of potential, but no, we don't plan. Yeah, but even for like speaking of the virtual open mics, right? Like that's how easy it can be right now. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I see a lot of the comedians they're signing up for open mics all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's quite a few within our region alone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bit like on my end, it got a bit frustrating because I'm like, wow, there are so many of these like virtual open mics, and yet somehow I'm always busy with something that I can't seem to attend them, and I
Right.
couldn't figure out whether it was an excuse, like I was making excuses, or like was I legitimately that busy, you know,
Right.
or was it an effort thing? But then, um, I got really frustrated because I was like, you know what, this whole MCO period, I haven't really like written anything intended for stand up. I haven't like worked on stand up. Right before the MCO, I was getting back in that groove of going back to the open mics. Attended one, like not perform, but just attended just to watch and support people. And then like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm after this. I'm the next one. I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna go up. And then like, oh, I guess like the whole world's shutting down now. Too bad. Like, okay, what do we do now? So like, it got more frustrating. I was like, okay, now the virtual open mics are here. And I'm like, okay, how do we do this? People are just going for it. I watched a couple. I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. But then like, yeah, timing tak ngam, this and that. And then one night, I just got really frustrated. I was chatting with Nuha,
Uh-huh.
and then I was like venting a bit. And then I asked her, I remember I had just finished
This
a
was two
live
nights ago.
stream. Yeah, two nights ago. Oh, you saw it.
I watched you. No, I watched you do
The
because
singing one, right?
you did the singing one, which was
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
And then we were all saying bye to each other. Like, oh, it was
Yeah.
pretty late at night. It was like, I don't know, like 12:30 at night or something, right? It was like very
Yeah,
late.
we wrapped up.
It was
Yeah,
like
quite
midnight or
very
something.
late.
And then
Yeah.
I was almost gonna say to you, okay, Stephen Bones, go to bed now. Don't start another live stream. I almost said it, and I was like, nah, don't say it.
You might jinx it.
And then you did one, and then you did like you did a lot of your material, or you worked on your material, right?
Dude, none. Like, okay, what happened was, after I did that karaoke session, right? Nuha was like messaging me say, oh, really enjoyed it and all, and I was like, but I still like, did my talk. I wasn't concerned with the singing bits. Singing bits like, okay, I know like this work that work, but like, were the talking bits okay? Were did things land? Were the jokes okay? Like, how did it feel did it feel like I was talking too much or whatever? And she's like, no, you were nice, like you were yourself and you just flowed. So as an audience, it was very enjoyable. And I was like, okay lah. And I was like, okay, that I flowed, you know, I flowed. And then she was like,
Yeah.
like the people watching you are like they're in on it, no? They're okay with, they like you as you, just do you, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like something clicked in my head, and I was like, okay, screw it. I told her, okay, Nuha, just give me a bunch of topics. Give me a bunch of topics. Like, what? I don't, just give me topics. And she sent me like a laundry list of stuff, and I was like,
Oh.
uh, okay, you know what? I've been complaining that I haven't been writing or thinking about new material or whatever, right? Let's just use these topics and just go live. Do the like, get this handheld mic plugged in and do
Mhm.
the whole stand up vibe thing, and just like shoot for it.
Right.
Piss in the wind and see what happens, because that partly got inspired by me watching Rizal
Yeah.
Van Gazel, because he's been doing
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
like these bits every night, and 9 p.m. right, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
9 p.m. from his own house, and he's trying out like stand up bits, getting the audiences to pick topics during the day, and he just like fires and just like he workshop his stuff lah. It's his open mic lah.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Like, if I can't attend the open mics, okay, what are the open mics? The open mics now, like, every performer is performing from their home,
Right.
and I'm like, okay, does the audience feedback really matter at this point? Because
Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
You're not getting it anyway.
You're not getting it anyway. And like, if you see like the laughs or the W's, it could have been for the next performer. It might not even belong to you.
Right.
And
I feel.
and
Yeah.
and even if like it came at your set, you can't determine exactly what triggered it and why, and all the little nuances
Yeah.
that you will be able to capture in a live show.
Yeah.
So I was
I'll
like,
tell you what. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
go
sorry, you're
ahead.
saying?
Yeah. No. Go ahead first.
okay, so I was thinking like, okay, so like, what is this open mic now actually? It's literally just people performing in their rooms with
Right.
a time limit. And
Yeah.
then like someone moves on to the next guy. And I was like, you know what?
Fuck your time limit.
Yeah, it's, oh my god.
Sorry.
If you have not seen the meme that I created of symptoms saying Grimace is about luck, that is going to be the next one. Fuck your time limit. Oh
You see,
my
this
God.
this is the kind of thing I can say when I'm a guest on your when I'm a host on my own show. It's like no. Let's be
Yes.
respectable.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
be respectable.
there are time limitations to everything, and you know we have to respect each other. So, come on my show, fuck your time limit.
No, you're right. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Now that you put it into perspective, I think like, yeah, actually, why have I been like signing up, making sure I'm available at this time to like for this 5 minutes on Wednesday, and then okay, I gotta find another one now. Okay, I got one in KL, then I gotta look for another one in Jakarta, another one in Tokyo. I'm like, today I just did like my
Exactly.
my own on my like. I just tagged it to my live stream, and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, lah, just do that, lah, you know.
Yeah, man.
So you're
And
right.
when I did mine, right, I was like, I had a few beers, so it was like I felt a bit more loose. So
Yeah.
I just let stuff flow. Like I only had like one joke that I really wrote right before I went out, and that I shot to Nuha, and then she's like, okay, this is funny. Like, I was like, okay, like I'll try. I was reading it off the screen as I was performing it, you know. But everything I was like making up along the way, and my thinking was like, okay, I'll just make this up as I go, and like if anything is worth keeping, I'll review the footage later, and I'll like take note lah. You know, those are the things you want to keep lah. And I was like, it felt really good, and I was deep down, I was a little bit worried that that one like the comedians would see it and they'll be like, oh my god, Steven has lost his mind, like he's gone off the deep end, like what the hell is he doing, like he's nuts lah, like there's something like he's like
No.
can we not call him a stand-up comedian anymore, that kind of thing. And then like Prakash showed up in my comments, right? He's like, yes. And it's like and he texted like the KL comedy cooperative punya WhatsApp group, right? Say, guys, Steven Bone's going strong, and it's like I think it was like 2 a.m. in the like 2 something a.m. in the morning, and then the next in the morning, I got a message from Rizal because I agreed to help him cut some footage for the Crack House page, and then he added in, you know, he said, you know, good on you for doing your live stream yesterday, and I was like, oh shit, I mean. It's one thing that comes from Prakash. It's another when it comes from Rizal. You know, so like, everything sort of aligned because like, I felt good about it, you know, and other people like comedians I respected felt good about it, and like Rizal Van Gazel, he was like, okay, this is something good that you're doing, you know, or like it's a good thing that you did. I was like, okay, like there's something here lah. Maybe
Right.
I don't need the open mics. Why am I trying to limit myself to my best 3 minutes or 5 minutes when I can't even figure out like what joke I want to do or where my direction is, who am I as a comedian, what kind of material am I like is natural to me, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Hit that go live button and you got like 24 hours a day if you want to.
I
And that was
watched
the
it.
most
I watched
the most
it and
productive.
and it was like, I was like, wow, like this is like Stephen Bones is doing like a ranty comedy, and you were good at it. I was like, okay, this is like, because not previously when we saw you at the at the open mics at the comedy clubs or at the comedy shows, you would be like doing like things that you're like, okay, I got 5 minutes, I gotta do this thing, and it's gotta be joke structured, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I think like you didn't venture into this thing where you would rant, and when you rant, actually you're very good at it. You can
Yeah,
find the words. Yeah.
cause like with the typical open mic structure of like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes sets kind of thing, there's no room for ranting. Like the ranting is, I like, okay, from where I would have thought that, okay, maybe this ranting thing is something that you achieve after you've done, like, you have like a whole bunch of like solid material and all that. So once you get promoted to, like, the 10 minute
Right.
closer kind of thing, then you get like that space to rant. So it always felt like, oh, this is something I must
Yeah.
work towards. I must learn all these basics first, and then I get up there. And then I do this thing. I just like go nuts for like, I was like 50 over minutes. I was like, stupid duration, but it's like,
Yeah.
it somehow it clicked on many levels lah.
When you talked on my live stream, like on my second episode, like you were my first guest, and you were talking about not being able to buy bread, and that was that was hilarious. You were getting all worked up about like not being able to buy bread, and it was so funny. Yeah. And it's something that you can do, that I think you were a bit careful about tapping into, but now it's like one other side of your comedy that you can explore now freely.
Right.
And
Yeah, it's scary, man, because it's like, now you have this outlet where you go like, you can go completely off the rails, and no one but Mark Zuckerberg can shut you down.
That's true.
Unless you're like quoting Al Qaeda, you're blowing up a building, you're murdering someone, you're committing suicide. No one can stop you. No one can shut you off.
So you mentioned you got the approval of Rizal, right?
Yeah.
Encouragement from Rizal, and I think it's also because he, like, what's been going on since the lockdown, since MCO, has been like there's been a little bit of a debate going on, like about what comedy is. I think like on one side, there's people who say like, oh, stand up doesn't work. Why bother doing stand up?
Yeah.
And I think this, and then results from the other side where he's like, what are you guys doing talking to your friends and calling it a show? It's like, how come you guys are not doing stand up? So there's like, at least there's these two sides that seem a little bit opposing, and there might be other people having other ideas of what comedy is as well, online comedy. So I can see that when you do that, and then Riza is like, okay, this guy's doing the right thing. He's doing stand up. Yeah. So in fact, when Riza said that on his show, right, he's like, oh, he actually said like, there's people. He's like promoting like stand up comedy. He's like, oh, please go and check out all the stand up comedy that's going online. Online, a lot of free content, stand up, great comedy online. And there's also some comedians talking to their friends and calling it a show. But there's also a lot of good stand-up, good comedy. So he said that, and I felt like, and me, I'm always like self-conscious, right? So I'm like, oh, he's talking about me.
About me.
So for a few days, in fact, for about for a few days there, I was like, okay, am I doing the right thing? Am I? And then I was like, am I just like, is this just a big wank for me? Am I actually being compelling, or am I just like doing this thing? But then I thought about it. I'm like, okay, actually, I'm just my live stream where I talk to friends. That I have purposes for it, that it serves a few purposes. One is I get to check in on my friends and have a chat with them, or catch up with them, right? So that's one thing that I genuinely want to do anyway, whether on a live stream or on WhatsApp or on some other channel. Then the other thing is it creates a little bit of content that I can put online pretty easily. So it's just 1 hour of work, an hour and a half of work every day, which is pretty easy to do. And I don't do any homework. Sometimes I I get to about 20 minutes and I'm like, I think I might be running out of things to ask this guy. But somehow, like if I ask one more question and then they get into something else and then they start talking, somehow it always reaches an hour. And then when I when I get to an hour, I'm amazed that like, wow, time really, like the last 40 minutes just flew by really fast, and almost effortlessly. So it serves that purpose. It creates content that's pretty easy to create. And third of all, I feel like I'm either learning a skill or at least maintaining a skill that I will need after after the apocalypse.
For the future times.
Yeah. I'm because I feel like I might, if I allow myself not to, if I don't find something to do where I'm talking to people, I would just talk to my wife a little bit each day, talk to my kid a little bit each day. And
that's not productive. That's not productive. Talking to my kid is not a productive thing to do.
No.
I know, I've tried. It doesn't work.
No, I mean, it's something I should do, but like...
that you don't have to.
But I feel like... No, but I feel like, at the end of this whole thing and we go back out there, I would have forgotten how to speak in a way, because I'm such a hermit that I sometimes just, this has happened to me where I go to a comedy club, it's time to perform, I get on stage, and my mouth is like forgotten how to pronounce the words. I'm like, blip, blip, blip. So I'm like, this is like, okay, practice for at least the muscles and the part of the brain that you use to search out words to have conversations with people. I'm like, okay, at least I'm working on that part of my brain, which people can probably like feel like, well, that is, people would take that for granted. They'd be like, well, everybody knows how to talk. What are you talking about, right?
No, but I there is that thing right now where we are in a situation where like you have all these trainers, not even trainers, just regular people posting their workouts daily and some live.
Yeah.
So I feel like, okay, if it's fine for you to post your workout daily and all this kind of stuff, this is our kind of workout lah. This is like whatever it is, whether it's like the art of conversation or you're like getting into that broadcaster kind of mindset or whatever it is, right? Or even just like practicing how to talk, that's a workout lah, and as you know, like, I mean, I think a lot of people fail to realize that like these kind of conversations, when you talk to someone like, and you trying to keep things going and you're trying to dive deeper, and sometimes even when it doesn't go into a deep dive, the fact that you're maintaining a conversation like this, it actually is quite taxing. It actually is quite taxing. And I don't know if you've encountered it, but like the first few like interview format podcasts that I did, right? Dude, those were like some of the most like draining, like mentally tiring moments of my life. Because like it had nothing to do with like, oh, the person I was talking to was very hard to talk to. It was nothing like that. All great conversations, but the fact that you're just focused on the conversation, ooh, that was just like, that was draining, but it was fun. But also, the more I did it, the stronger I felt the next time I did it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right,
so
right.
there was that. Yeah.
Yeah. I also remember that one of the earliest, like I always look up to Rizal, right? He's younger than me, but he's kind of like my big brother in comedy because he started so much earlier. So he's been a great, he's given me a lot of guidance and encouragement, right? But one of the earliest things I remember him telling us is like, actually, there'll be a lot of people giving you advice in comedy and you don't have to listen to any of them. So I'm like, yeah, actually that is also good advice, right? So I'm like, yeah, actually when you're in a situation where it works for you and people can give you advice, but they might not be seeing the whole picture. Yeah. So
and that's the thing, right? When you first started in comedy, all you're looking for is advice because you have no idea what you're doing, how to do it, and you're like, oh, if someone just tells me the right thing and points me in the right direction, I'll take off and fly. You know,
Yeah.
that's the mindset lah. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like what even when I remember very clearly when I first got into like the stand up open mics at the Crack House, I would like after each time I went up, I would try to go up to Rizal and ask him like, how did I do? Is there anything I can work on? Like,
Mhm.
and like the first couple of times he tried to like tell me, okay, this part I loved it, this part maybe work on the jokes, and after a while, right, he's like, you know what? I'm getting too much in your head. I'm getting too much in your head. Dude, just do you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to tell you too much because you gotta do you, and I never understood that until like 2 nights ago when I like just went completely off the rails on my own lah.
Oh. Yeah.
And then like when I chatted with him the next day, he was like, yeah, like that's what stand up like that's a big part of stand up. Just it's not about like figuring out how to do it or finding the best. It's just freaking just go and do it.
Right.
Just do it by any means necessary. Just go and do it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really glad like that I was drunk enough to do that.
It's good. It's good.
So I do want to do more though, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, if you like, cause like you just now you mentioned you did it on your live stream, right? Sort of like
Yeah.
in the daytime.
Yeah. So I was just throwing the jokes out there. I didn't know. That's the other thing as well. Like, because like as you mentioned, like we can't really tell about the feedback, even when people are trying to give feedback. I'll tell you what. When I'm watching my friends perform stand-up comedy, I am extra supportive, like because I know like this is online stand-up comedy, so I'm in a mind frame where I'm extra supportive, you know.
Yeah.
And so today I thought about it like, okay, what about when I perform? Are people also extra supportive? Does that mean this doesn't translate to when I'm at a live show? So I'm not
Right.
sure about that aspect as
Like
well.
every
Yeah,
like there's a charity case
a little bit. Yeah,
tinge to it, right? Which is
yeah,
it makes
yeah,
it feel a bit dirty at times. I mean, it's as performers we definitely appreciate it. We can't deny
yeah,
that. But it you want to make sure you're really hitting people where it hurts lah,
yeah,
not like you
yeah.
then they're like, oh, you're kesian, use online. Like,
Although the shows that I've been watching, like the Crack House weekend shows, those have been great. I watched Ollie Horn, and I watched Steve-O and Steve-O Jocelyn, and I watched Pun Chi Ho and Dr. Jason Leong, and they were all great. And I think I watched Shamin and
Sam
Sam C.
C.
They were
Yeah.
great as well.
They were great,
I,
yeah.
I missed out a bit of the Reisman's one. I missed out, and Sam Thomas. I missed out the earlier part because there were just so many shows yesterday. I was running from stream to stream. I was, yesterday, I was at Iman's storytelling event, and then from there was, I think, there was the Crack House and Fire Grill show, which is on
Yeah, the headliner
every
show.
weekend, right?
Yeah.
And then there was also I think, who else was having a show? I think, was it Jeps was having a show,
Yeah, Jeps and Mike, the kids are asleep.
and you were having a show.
I was having a show as well. Every
and
every comedian has
yeah.
a live stream talking to other kids.
and Russell Curtis was having a show as well. The music show. So yeah, I was running from one to the other. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's just like so much, right? It's so much, like too much to support at times. Oh my god. But like yeah, like one thing I want to ask you though is like, since you did that bit on your own stream where you started going into your material and throwing stuff out, like would you be tempted to like, just go live and just like
I am
see what
tempted.
happens?
I am tempted. And in fact, I'm still trying to find like a balance between all my what do you call this, channels, I guess. Like there's a podcast, which is really that, right? It's just me dumping my brain. Sometimes there is a bit of structure, there's a bit of planning into it. It's like, okay, this week I'll talk about this and that, but it is a lot of stuff that I've collected over the week because I don't want it to clutter up my brain. There is that, right?
Yeah.
And I do try to have a few funny words in there um, when I can, so that it's at least maybe a tiny bit entertaining, maybe. But mostly it's about me dumping my brain. And then there's the live stream, which is me, like as I said earlier, practicing how to talk to people and catching up with people. And and then there's the joke writing, and the joke writing will go into, I guess, in the old days I would take that to an open mic where I would do like between 4 to 5 minutes,
Right.
and then wait for the next week, right? So
Yeah.
now I'm thinking like, okay, if I want to do more than that, maybe I'll do like what you did 2 nights ago, and just do that. But that means like, but I'm not sure if I have, like when I watch you were funny. When I do mine, I think it'll be more like my podcast, where it's like the funny moments would have been planned, I think.
I think like
yeah.
okay, I had a couple of bits that were like stuff that I normally do, like the Filipino singing the bar bits and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
That I kind of like I jammed them in where like when the opportunity arose.
Right.
I don't know why, but to me, I was just like, maybe like, I have these, I haven't said them in a while. I should just like chuck them in, and
Yeah.
something familiar But
Right.
the main goal for me was really just to like mine for material. Just
Okay. Yeah.
like we hear all these stories, like what, like Dave Chappelle hijacking a comedy club like for 3 hours just to like talk, and then he has someone like take notes for him or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah,
Maybe. So maybe for you would work a bit like Dave Chappelle as well. For me, I don't know if I can, but traditionally, I mean, the way I've been doing it in the past has been like I would write on paper and then bring it to a performance. I don't know if I'm not sure whether I can change that. And maybe I can, but it's normally I would be like, okay, make sure it's just me, like, I'm always like worried.
yeah.
And then I
But
would write.
one thing I realized really helped was just standing up.
Standing up.
A setup,
Right.
so you're able to just stand up and like maybe pace a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I have this,
Uh-huh.
so even with a prop, because I think the first time I tried doing something like that, I used. Actually, yeah, that day I used the mic. Yeah, there was one time I used like a pipe, like a smoking pipe. So it's like,
Right.
but it gives you.
I think
it's
standing up and at least being able to move a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it really
gonna
frees
be-
you up. It frees you up. It's a different energy, because all this sitting down is like,
Sitting down is yeah.
Yeah.
You're like trying to read. You're being a newscaster. It doesn't work. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know, like one thing I truly enjoyed when I did that rant that day was that it really it put me in a zone where like yes, I was aware like there were a couple of people watching, but somehow I didn't care, because I wasn't concerned with entering their world. I wasn't concerned with them coming to mine. I was just concerned with building my world.
Right.
Just staying in it.
Yeah.
I stay in this, I just keep doing my thing, like and hopefully like a typhoon or something like that you somehow get sucked in lah.
Yeah.
If you don't, then if you don't relate, and you don't feel like you don't understand what's going on, then you go. I don't care.
Yeah.
So
You have to get into that zone a bit. I guess alcohol helps a lot.
definitely. This podcast is brought to you by.
Yeah. For me, right? I guess I'm a little bit. My material is sometimes a bit self-deprecating, although like people might not see it that way. Like people, you can't control what people think. Like I would have a joke about how I deal with a situation very stupidly. But in that joke, maybe I'm doing something stupid, and then there's somebody who's yelling in the joke, right? And then they're like, "Oh, this joke is about this person. You're." So it's like people think the whole joke is about one character, but it's not really. It's like about a situation, or it's about me sometimes, but they think it's about someone else. Or so there's no really like for example, like if I have this joke where I tell about like it's about me. Basically, I have this fear. Like if I see a woman wearing very bright contact lenses, and it's an Asian woman, right? So it's like in my brain, it's like I cannot compute. So for like a split second there, I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Is this a vampire? So it's like it's my stupidity, it's my fear,
Yeah.
right? But then people will say like, oh no, this guy is like, what? How does he dare tell women what to, women what to wear? He's
Yeah,
a
I get what you mean.
misogynist.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I have to set up the joke super carefully. I'm like, I have to be like,
But
yeah,
that's the thing, right? When you're kind of like free balling it, and there's no audience to answer to, and you're somehow able to get into that mental zone when there's like no, like, for lack of a better term, no fucks given,
yeah,
all right, you you will you will allow yourself to, like, that lady, that those eyes and those features and this whole Asian thing with those eyes don't work. Boom, like, oh, okay. First you're like knocked back, and like, and then you just go like, are you crazy? Like, what
yeah, yeah,
are you
yeah,
thinking? And you just attack, and you're free to
yeah,
do it because
yeah,
it's your own space. There's no time limit.
yeah,
There's no like structural thing you're looking out for at the moment. Because you're just like, you're just
yeah, yeah,
throwing
yeah. It's
emotion,
great.
right? You're just throwing
It's great.
emotion,
Yeah,
analyzing, like,
yeah,
analyzing in rage.
yeah, yeah.
So to
It
speak.
happens a lot
And
in
then,
conversations. Yeah,
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 and then after that, you will go in that tangent, and then after that, maybe like, you come to that realization. It's like, okay, like, I've said all that crap about that thing, you know
uh-huh.
and usually, like, when I tell this to people will think that, will say that I'm being
Oh,
intolerant, and then you can start working from that angle, and then,
yeah,
I mean, without the time limit, like, hot damn, man, that's a lot of fun for a comedian, I think.
yeah.
If you can get
Yeah,
over the wanting to make people laugh thing, lah.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I, as a, so I think, yeah, I'm a bit of a self-deprecating comedian, but I think the self-deprecating comedy works. We all know that, right?
Yeah.
But the problem with the self-deprecating comedian is also you gotta be self-conscious enough to be like, oh, I'm an idiot, I'm so stupid, I'm doing all these stupid things, and you gotta be aware of all these things and then note them down and then write them into jokes, right? But at the
Yeah.
same time, when you're on stage, when you're dealing with being a comedian, you have to be also like someone who's maybe a bit like self-confident and assertive. You're like, okay, I'm good enough for this job, I'm good enough for this
Right.
show, right? Yeah,
Like, it's like you have to be a better version of yourself to be on that stage, so that hopefully you get good enough that one day you can just be yourself.
yeah,
Does that
yeah,
make sense? Yeah, it's really
yeah,
weird. It's really weird. Yeah, it's really
yeah.
weird, and I think the whole, I don't know, man. Like, I enjoyed the open mics and all these kind of stuff. Like, the pressure is crazy, but like doing this virtual stuff, it's like, it's a lot more free. It really feels like open mic.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
especially when there's no time limit. Especially when there's no, like, it really feels like an open mic where you just like, you just do what, like, it's your space, it's your safe space. You do whatever the hell you damn well please. You say whatever the hell you want. You analyze whatever. You can take whatever position, But I mean, on top, you sandwich it lah. You tell people, you let people know that, look, this is me, working on something lah. This is
Yeah.
me trying to explore. And they once they're in on it, right, I think it's fine. So even if it's like self-deprecating stuff, right? Like, I think self-deprecating, like, jokes, like, it's not so much that we go looking for it. It's like a mindset kind of thing.
Yeah, it is.
So
It
no
is.
matter
Yeah.
where you are, no matter
Mhm.
how confident you are or how bad you feel, or
Mhm.
whatever it is, right? I think if you're that kind of comedian, because I think I'm a little bit like that as well, like very
Yeah.
self-deprecating. I think you whatever tangent you go on, right? At
Yeah.
some point you'll realize that, oh my god, I built myself up to this like stupid hill.
Right. Right. Right.
Right? And then you're like looking at the pile of trash you just created. I was like, okay, maybe I'm not that smart at all. And then you come tumbling down, and then somehow it's funny to everyone else, lah.
Yeah. So I think it's those moments in life when you are just going about your day,
Yeah.
and you will block out an enormous amount of things if you're not paying attention. So like being like you say, if you have that mindset or that mentality where you're like, okay, yeah, I'm a bit of an idiot, I do a lot of stupid things. Then you will go about your day and you'll be like, oh, okay, oh yeah, why did I do that? That was stupid. And, oh, wait a minute, I better note this down. There might be a joke here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But the point of like the comedian and the open mic is that, like, open mics are safe spaces for us to blurt out whatever. And as
mhm,
comedians, we're supposed to, like, you know, say things that we're not really supposed to say, like, I mean, kinda, right? We're supposed
yeah,
to
yeah,
observe things or
yeah,
put things from our mind that we feel is funny and that's out there. And with with the typical open mic structure, suddenly it's like, okay, I want you to this is a safe and free space for you to do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. You can express yourself however you want.
uh-huh.
But you have a time limit. And also because this is an art form, you kind of need structures and you need to figure shit out before you actually start doing. And then you're like, well, okay, all these filters and barriers start
Mhm.
forming up, right? And then suddenly it's another box lah. It's another box.
Structure is good, lah, in a way, because it's like if you
Yeah,
for people who are lost, they're like, oh, like people who are getting into comedy, they always ask like, how do I get into stand-up comedy? And then for us, we're like, just write some jokes and go and do at
yeah,
an open mic, lah. But then that doesn't really help them because like, so easy to say, how to do,
exactly.
write 3 minutes of jokes, so easy, man. For someone who's never done it, haven't even written one joke before, right? 3 minutes of jokes, that's a lot of jokes,
Yeah,
man. So
exactly.
so for them it's like, okay, if you tell them, okay, joke is a setup and a punchline, oh, okay, watch this Jimmy Carr video, oh, okay, all these little things help them lah,
Yeah,
but then yeah, you're also right in that when you are trying to explore, like, okay, what is funny to me,
yeah.
and then people are telling you like, no, joke is setup and punchline. You're like, oh, okay,
Yeah, you tell
and
them
then
something,
it's
then they're like, "Where's the joke?"
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
it
So
sounds
it's
it's so, yeah,
yeah, so it's almost like if you tell them like, I like this is funny to me. They're like, no, 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 this is not funny to you. This is not a setup and a punchline. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
right,
that
right.
there is a bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and and you think about it, right? Like, why do open mics only limit, like, at least the comedy open mics lah? Why are we limited to like the 3, the 4, the 5 minute kind of thing? 99% of the time is because there's like the show needs to end at a certain time and start at a certain time,
Yeah.
and like there's a whole bunch of people that performers that showed up and they're trying to squeeze everyone in, right?
Hmm.
Like majority of the time is that. If I mean, it's happened before, I believe. Like, I think Crack House, there was once like 4 performers showed up.
Hmm.
4.
Right.
Open mic that's usually packed with like 18, 20 performers, suddenly 4 show up.
Uh-huh.
And they have like the open mic show is like what, an hour and a half, 2 hours, right? In total. And you got like that kind of time to kill,
Uh-huh.
between 4 performers.
Right. 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 Right.
Like it, no one is getting 3 minutes.
Hmm.
Right? Everyone is getting like a good chunk of time, right? Unless
Right.
you actively say you want less time, right?
Okay.
Then
So
it's
what
different.
happens? So they still give you like 5 minutes, or what
No, then
happens?
no lah. Then you suddenly you get like 15,
Right. 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 Okay.
get
Okay.
20, and it's like,
Right.
and it's solely on the virtue that no one else is there, no other performer is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
So
like, imagine lah. Suddenly, you get that kind of stage time out of nowhere. Like, what are you gonna do with it? If because all this while you've been taught that, or you've been operating in a zone where like, oh, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. start with this, to explore this, end with that, and that's the structure, that's the way to do it, and don't go off tangent too much, that kind of thing,
Right.
And then suddenly I come to you and say, okay, Sim, do 20. You got 20 minutes at open mic. Do whatever the hell you want. Just fill up that time. You know, you like you either unleash or you will be at a loss lah. Because after that 5 minutes, you might stretch it to 7, 10, and then after that you'll be
Okay, but
yeah.
that's the first time lah. But after you do that for like 10 times, then your 20 minutes would be strong again, you know?
Yeah, but how many of those, like, how
Yeah.
many times is that gonna happen? In the course
Yeah,
of
yeah,
like
yeah.
even like not even like a year, like 3 years maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's rare.
earlier this year I started I was trying to do the comedy feedback mics.
Mm-hmm.
There was one at Crack House, and then I was trying to start one more, so there would be two per week.
Mm-hmm.
Second one didn't really take off, but the thing that people were asking me is like, Sim, why don't we have one open mic that is like everybody can perform 15 minutes? So people were looking for that, and but the problem is people are looking for that, but nobody's organizing it. Everybody's
Yeah,
waiting for somebody else to organize it.
nobody wants to organize. Yeah.
Right. So for people who couldn't do it like 15 minutes weekly, so I think like, okay, why don't like you guys like just find a few performers and do just a one-off show and just perform for Friday and Saturday somewhere. Just find a venue that is reasonable and do that, and sell the show to your friends who haven't watched you perform, and that would work. That's how we did it last time. My first show was with Tak and Aiman, and then I did it a bunch of times after that. I should, and I was thinking of doing it again like this year
Okay.
before this whole thing happened, right? And then now it's like actually anybody can make an open mic. It's like
Right. Yeah.
anybody with an internet and 2 weeks free trial on StreamYard or be like and just start your own open mic. You don't need a
Yeah.
venue. You don't even have to find a cheap venue anymore. You just need the internet, really.
Yeah. Because at some point, once you get comfortable with the thrill of simply performing without wanting the feedback or the audience
Yeah,
reassurance,
yeah,
and you're really just, I know it's like it sounds selfish as hell, but it's like you're really just doing it for yourself. It like it makes a lot of sense to just like embrace this virtual thing and just go out there on your own and just
yeah.
on
But
your own time, on your own terms, and then like what ended up happening with my rant that time was that I went through all the topics, and then Nuha was kind enough to like help me go through some of the footage, and she's like, you actually like came up with quite a lot. Like there's a lot of stuff that you started exploring, which like are really great premises, and yes, you did have some jokes, which like at that time I was not aware, because as far as I'm concerned, sometimes I don't even recognize a joke when I see it.
because you were
I'll be
going
like,
forward, yeah.
yeah, not even sometimes in writing, I'm like, okay, is this a setup or is this a punchline? Like, what is going on here? I don't know, But then when I did what I did, somehow like she was like, okay, things landed, and until now, I don't know exactly. Okay, I know it's funny, but I don't know, like, I can't break it down.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm not that comfortable yet with that. But what I do know is that if like I go through those little nuggets, like the little one-liners or the premises, some of the potential stories that I went to, like okay, now I feel like, oh, I just like amassed a whole notebook worth of stuff that I can keep around, and refine. So the next time I do this again, okay, maybe I'll like there'll be a part where I just go completely off the rails, but then there'll be this part where I'm like, okay, I did this before, let me do it again.
Right,
See
right,
what
right.
else comes out, or if I remember doing this story and I had this joke, I wrote it down. So now, okay, let me do this story and make sure I hit this joke, whatever it is, I hit this joke, but then like I'll do everything else, whatever around it lah.
Right.
And I think it sort of clicked with me because I remember, okay, I don't know if this is fact, yeah, but I remember hearing about how Bill Burr comes up with his material. Like he doesn't really like write a whole ton of stuff down. But what he does, like for him, the important thing is to keep going to the open mics and just telling the story, telling the story, telling the story. Is there
Yeah,
something
yeah.
there? Keep going, going, going.
Yeah.
Do it, do it, do it. Repeat, repeat, repeat until like, you tell a story 100 times, you're gonna get like
Good
a
at
very
telling
clear
that
cut.
story. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think, yeah lah. I mean, this might be the groove that I've been like needing all this while lah. And it just
Right.
took a global pandemic to display it to make me find it.
I
It's just the potential destruction of the entire human race, right? I mean,
right,
that's
right,
a
right,
small price
right.
to pay, right?
A few more of these, and you're gonna be
I have a
set.
career. 90% of the globe gets wiped out, but
Yeah.
you know what? Stephen Bones became a comedian.
No, but you're right. Yeah. Sometimes we always as performers we're always told like, oh, okay, you cannot just do what you like. You have to listen to the crowd and listen to their feedback, right?
Yeah,
But I also feel like sometimes it's important to have like an internal compass.
because it's the
Because
artist side, right? It's the
yeah,
artist side of things.
because if you're just doing it like imagine if like your joke writing is just like, okay, you can do this, you can have like just charts, just fill your wall with charts, like okay, today I'm gonna use the rule of three, tomorrow I'm gonna use this comedic device, and then
Yeah,
you just spread it out. It's like, okay, I've used this already, now I'm gonna use this. And you could do that, but like you're not gonna laugh at your own jokes, and then
yeah,
it's 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 kind of like a little bit manufactured. So I think like what Bill Burr or you yourself sometimes would do is like you would tell the story, and at this point you kind of remind yourself like, wouldn't it be funny if I said this instead of that? And then like,
yeah,
yeah, that would be weird. And then you try it, and then you laugh, and then you're like, okay, I laughed, so maybe other people would. And then you try that, right? And
yeah.
I think that's also a good way of doing it. And of course, like if you know some comedic devices, it kind of
Yeah, it
it's a
helps. It
shortcut.
helps.
It's
Yeah.
a shortcut in a way, but like if you're looking out for it, it kind of stops you from enjoying your own jokes a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of like I guess it's kind of like music as well. Like, yes, you can play by ear. Yes, you can learn music theory, but at the end of the day, if you're not performing like you enjoy it,
yeah,
it's not gonna like all the technical stuff don't mean jack, man. If you yourself didn't enjoy it to begin with, right? And you're just like
right, right.
miserable performing it, you're not happy, and there's no soul in the music and all that. It doesn't work no matter what you do, right?
Yeah.
So it has, I guess, like
It's
for
like
comedy.
yeah, it's a bit like jamming in music. It's like, okay, I'm playing like maybe a Justin Bieber song. Oh, wouldn't it be funny here if I just like this riff sounds a bit familiar. Wouldn't it be funny if I just went into a Marvin Gaye song right here?
Yeah, right.
you know?
It's the
And
best part.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. Like I, there are a few things I remember from my rant, like that I have never ever said out loud or thought of. So it really happened on the spot. Um, okay, I did this thing where I talked about like how all these remakes of movies and all the new reboot versions of all these like shows are being made like now it's all like the dark and adult version, right? The real version, like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lion,
I saw that.
like there's
Yeah,
like Lion King has like a real lions, and I'm like, why does it need to be that way, right? And
yeah,
I suddenly went into this tangent. Okay, like I've always known that um the pain point was like, okay, why are all the movies angry and dark and all that? Why can't we make like a
yeah.
happier version of something, right?
Right, right,
So
right.
happier version. But I never went into the whole like, what if Game of Thrones was like a happier version, or like what if My Little Pony went dark? I
Right,
never
right, right.
explored.
Right, right, right.
I
Yeah,
never
yeah, yeah.
explored that. But at that
Did,
night,
did
I
you
was like,
come? Did you come up with that just like at that moment?
it was in the moment because I was genuinely like ticked off about things like these lah. So like the topics were, it's kind of like our like man screaming into the darkness kind of podcast. You have
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
topics, but you don't have any real concrete script.
Uh-huh.
You might have a point or two, but that's really all you're going on. And then the rest is just like, okay, either what's on your mind at that time, and if it triggers an emotion, then you just follow that firefly of rage and just keep going,
Yeah.
Yeah, if it enrages you, if it upsets you, I still don't know how I ended up talking about my daughter, like my kids like kicking me in the nuts when I'm asleep in the bed in the middle of the night. I have no idea. I have no idea how all that cropped up, but apparently it was like real pain. It's like real pain points lah, literal pain points lah when you get kicked in the nuts in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Hey, you know what, Stephen? Maybe like maybe next day when you go back out to doing the comedy shows, right? Before the comedy show, you have to sing for an hour. Maybe that's how you get
Right,
into
maybe
the
that's
zone.
it, right? Sing and get drunk for an hour, and then that's my warm up, right? Fucking gonna have like a concert worth of music, and then he goes and does like 5 minutes or 3. Oh gosh, oh man. But no lah. But now I like after now I kind of see the light. Now I kind of see it. Okay, if I keep doing these rants a few more times, get some of these stories tightened up, and like maybe come up with a few more, like or think about certain topics as well, and just learn to flow. Because okay, there's a few things I will pick up. One is getting used to just flowing, and because of repetition, some of these stories I would have told multiple times.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's built in, right?
yeah.
And then because you're familiar with the story, if there is a need for you to cut it short, you will know how to cut it short.
Yeah, yeah,
Like when you're in a rush to tell someone something, you figure out the way to get from A to Z the quickest way possible.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And with all that, right, the fact that okay, I will have the stories, I will have the premises and all this kind of stuff, I will have the jokes, Now all I gotta do is jam it with a bunch of other stuff and make it fit in whatever time I'm given.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So then, like that seems like a method to the madness lah for me. To start with the madness first, like just go full madness, and then from there, whatever you can get, then you apply the method to it, and then after that you display it as a methodical form of madness on stage. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I like your method, and I'm gonna copy it.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
No, I do agree. I know it works for me as well because like exactly what you said. Like if you tell the story enough times, you already like don't have to worry about that part already.
Yeah.
It's like yesterday you said or you said like about the other day, you're like, okay, I have to think a little bit about the part where you're ranting and trying to work on your material. But the part about the singing, you're like, okay, the singing, I just choose a bunch of songs and do it, right? You don't have to practice or rehearse or So it's a bit like that.
Yeah, the fortunate thing for me is that like with sing I as it is right now, I feel like I'm a much better singer than I am a stand-up comedian. And with singing, right, because I've been doing it for a while, and I do feel like pretty competent at it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
When I sing, I do hit these zones with certain songs or certain shows or whatever, where it's a mind body soul connection. So you are no longer thinking about you're no longer trying to you're no longer trying.
Right.
You're just performing already. You're just
Right.
performing no matter what.
Yeah.
Whether it's to one person, 1,000, or to a camera, it really doesn't matter anymore because you are in that zone. You are just enjoying it, and it's all you. And for some reason, that's the moment where people enjoy it the most. Where people enjoy watching the most. And with comedy, I know for a fact that I need to somehow find my way to that experience.
Right.
To
right.
that point where like you're in that groove and you're in your own world and nothing can touch you. But at the same time, getting lost in your own world is one thing lah. Being good at it is a different challenge altogether. So like, having these elements all come together, like that's, if I can hit that in comedy, like that would be amazing lah for me.
So I want to ask you, when you how about when you learn a new song, do you have to like go through it a bunch of times or?
I do, and some songs I don't like. Some songs don't click with me until like years later.
Okay.
Like there are
Right.
some songs where like I learned like back in the day, and then I was like, oh my god, I hate this song. It was like so stupid, and then it's like this like the auntie uncle song, and then like every band is doing this. Why am I doing this? And then I genuinely like I do those songs just to get by last time,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
And now like
And then you have to learn the lyrics, right? And then you're like,
yeah, I learned the
this.
lyrics and everything.
I don't even like these lyrics. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but then after a while, whether it's like not performing it for a while, or nostalgia, or growth, or whatever it is,
Mhm.
or maybe like delayed appreciation of the song, or whatever lah.
Yeah.
But sometimes you end up like, yeah, you know what, I get it, and then you're like you're able to just like fall in that groove lah.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
why like personally I don't really enjoy taking requests from people, because it's like they're like, oh, but you can sing anything. No. I enjoy singing some stuff, and some stuff like when you send it to me, right? I look at it, I'm like, oh, yeah, fuck you. And they'll always be like, dude, you know what? You'll be so perfect at singing this song, and I'm like, yeah, no. You think I'm perfect at singing? No, I don't think so. Yeah, but I mean, I have gotten instances where like the audience was right,
Right.
which is scary, because there are times where there was once I think this song "Oh Darling" by the Beatles. Whoa, darling, that one, right? Like I remember one of the bar owners, like she recommended it to me. Say you really got to check it out. I think you'll kill at it. I heard it. I was like, oh, okay lah. Like what is this lah? I mean it's a nice song and all, but then learned it up. Did it a couple of times. I was like, okay lah. It's like quite. It's all right. Then did it a few more times, and I think maybe one of the nights I was like really wasted or something like that, and I just went like all out, and now it's like one of my favorites to do.
Right.
And it's one of the strongest songs I have, like if I'm doing like a live show or whatever to close. Yeah, so it's insane lah. It's insane.
Right,
It's
right,
insane. But some songs like will still like suck the soul out of you lah. Like Hotel California is still like, you want to see the soul leave a musician's eyes, right? Just ask them to play Hotel California. They go into jukebox mode.
It's like, maybe it's like telling a comedian, can you do the Russell Peters joke for me?
Exactly. Oh my god. It is that. It is that.
But maybe like some of your jokes, right? Yeah, it's just like your songs where it's like you have to tell them like a bunch of times. Yeah.
Yeah.
We really tell our jokes very few times, like compared to like some of the comedians who are really performing a lot, either locally because they are established comedians, or comedians who are overseas, like in America or UK,
I
where they tour.
I like to use I always like to benchmark the work ethic against the people, like where all your heroes come from.
Mhm.
So if like your heroes all come from the States, right? Like that to me is like really the benchmark of work should be, trying to aim for lah. Not that you have to achieve, but trying to aim for. But sorry, but back to your point.
No, so if you count like the number of hours that, like, let's say someone who is just performing, like trying to make it big in the US, they would be performing way more hours than what we have been trying, like just getting like 5 minutes a week or 10 minutes a week. If it's like some comedians are doing like trying to make it by doing like 10 minutes of open mic a week, and that's actually probably one of the more hardworking comedians, you would say, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So but then they would be doing maybe like maybe like 10 minutes a night or even more sometimes.
I think like what Ronnie, was it Ronnie Cheng or someone saying that their regular weekday night, or like regular performing night, or like open mic nights, it's like 6 shows a night.
6 shows,
running around 6 clubs.
Yeah. So let's say for them they're more established. Maybe they do like 15 to 20 minutes just trying out new material.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. 6 shows, and then you got to factor in like traveling in between places, the waiting around and all this kind of stuff. It's insane. And here we are looking at like what on a good week on a good
Right.
week
Yeah.
you'll probably do like what 3, 4, maybe
Uh-huh.
if you're lucky 5 slots.
Yeah.
Open mics and like actual performances. Whereas there, the other side is like wow 6 slots a night.
So yeah, so having said that, right, I think like there is a value in going to open mics in different cities online,
Yeah.
right? Because like you do get a different audience as well. So in a way, you don't have to feel so apprehensive, like oh, I'm telling this story again. Is this same 20 minutes again, or is this
Mm.
same hour again, or whatever? And then it's like oh, it's still my 10 viewers.
Yeah.
For me lah. For me, it's like
I don't
okay,
know.
I'm not subject my
Maybe
10 viewers to the same hour again.
no, but maybe right.
Yeah.
Maybe okay. Maybe we gotta look at it a different way lah. Maybe like the doing like the online rant thing, right? Maybe that's not the open mic. Maybe that is
The
the
pre-open
writing
mic.
process.
Yeah.
The writing process,
Yeah.
right? That is just the public writing process.
Yeah.
So that when you do go to the open mics, you are able to perform lah, like perform.
Yeah.
It's just that when we like if we do the online ranting, pacing around and just like talking whatever you want to talk about and just going at it, right? Yeah, maybe that's just a new writing process we can try out now because I'm sure there are other comedians out there, who like I think like Bert Kreischer. I remember hearing about how his writing process where he doesn't really write anything down as well, but he just like keeps replaying the story and he keeps murmuring it to himself.
Right.
Like, and just be doing that to himself all day, right?
Right.
But imagine doing like that same process where you're just like just
Right. Right.
repeating the story over and over, but in a live stream setting lah. So it's
Yeah.
to most people you're performing, but actually what you're doing is just it's a very internal
Yeah.
thing lah. Maybe
I was.
that's
Yeah. Yeah. I was listening to this podcast where they were. There's this podcast called "Let's Talk About Sets." So you can check it out. So it's just like the nerdiest comedy podcast you can find, where they are actually dissecting jokes and like how to get better at comedy. So it's like
that's a very misleading title, man.
no. So let's talk about sets.
Oh,
sets.
sets. All right, sets.
Right,
All
right,
right.
right. So it's like a podcast that's catered towards aspiring comedians, basically. And so they were talking about. There was one episode where they were they were talking to Mark Norman, and they were like, "Oh, you're so good at analogies. How do you find all these analogies?" And then he's like, "Yeah, sometimes you just gotta keep trying." And so he was saying all the usual things like, "Oh, you just gotta work hard. You gotta keep trying. You're gonna get good at it someday." And then the interviewer, the host, was saying like, well, I sometimes I can find an analogy when I'm talking to someone in a conversation, but then when I'm sit down and write, I can't come up with any analogies, right?
Yeah.
And then so he says like, yeah, maybe like what you could try is you could just pace about the house and talk to yourself like a madman, like what you just
Like what it
described.
did,
Yeah, about Bert Kreischer, right? So
Yeah.
so I think there is value in that. There is like
Right.
it is a useful trick. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like through like my conversations with Nuha and like interactions and all that, right? And she like laughs at like the stuff I say and then like and the stuff I reply or whatever. So I'm like, okay, if she's laughing clearly, like something's working. And then she'll tell me that, and she'll keep telling me, actually, you are funny. You just got to stop getting in your own way. Everybody hears that.
Yeah.
Right? You have to stop getting in your own way. And I think like when she like seeing me singing and then the talking bits and all that, she's like, oh, you actually like you flow well. You're able to flow, right? So I was like, okay lah, maybe with all the reassurances and all that, I was like, yeah, maybe it is just that lah. Just stand up and just open your mouth and just go about it lah.
I think you are you have the complete package. You're good at conversations, and you're funny in conversations, and people love talking to you because you're funny all the time. And
No, because I trap them one on one in the group setting. I don't function
yes,
well.
yes,
Ah,
no, it's true.
yeah.
That's why I used, when I did my live stream, I sometimes I'm scared that, oh, what if this guest has bad internet, or it
Mm,
doesn't show up, or doesn't talk. I'm like, and maybe I don't know them that well. Maybe I should get a backup. And then sometimes I have two people on, and sometimes I have
yeah.
three people on, right? So when I have two people on, and especially when I have three guests on, plus
Mm,
myself, so that's four of us, I find the conversations are not as deep,
yeah.
and we can't explore as much. And sometimes we don't allow ourselves to go into silly places as much. I mean, sometimes it gets silly because we're all trying to get a laugh,
Yeah.
but uh,
But
but
a lot of
we don't
times
go to, yeah.
a lot of times that's at the expense of the deep topic.
Yeah, yeah. So
Do you
we
find that?
don't
Yeah.
go, yeah, like yeah. So I find like for me, what I learned from doing this is also like, oh, okay, I just gotta trust that even though like this is somebody that I've only spoken to a few times, but it's okay. It's okay. Things are gonna be okay because
Yeah.
I trust that when two people get together and chat, things turn out well. Yeah,
Yeah. No,
and
no
and
one
that
is
has been,
actively. Yeah. No one is
yeah,
actively out to shut down the conversation for no freaking
right, right,
reason,
right,
kind of
and
thing.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, and that has proven to be true. Yeah, after 31 episodes, yeah, so it's been good. And yeah, I forgot what else I was gonna say.
Yeah. No, but like I mean, after all this, right? I mean, you've done a good amount of all these like one to one, kind of interviews and all that, right? So okay, I think I have a couple of things I want to find out from you. Do you,
I remember what I want to say now, but
okay?
you
Yeah, go
talk
ahead.
first.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay. I feel like you have the complete package in that you're good at conversations, and you can be funny in conversations, obviously, and you can write while talking. I mean, you can do it with this method if you choose to. Of course, you can also write. Maybe you can write when you're not having conversations as well.
Oh, I
As,
I I have like okay. One thing that sparked it right was because I was telling Nuha like yeah right like when I'm replying you or when, like in conversation I can count all the stuff right. When I try to sit down and
okay,
type it out,
right.
nada, nothing,
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
nothing happens.
And then you also have like I don't know if you know this, but having a wide vocal range, which you do for your
Mm,
singing and your voice acting, um, that is also very useful in performing comedy,
mm,
and also knowing about music and knowing about rhythm. I find it's a little bit useful also when you're writing a joke. It's like, oh, okay, what's wrong with this punchline? Oh, it's got one syllable too many, or
mm, mm,
one syllable too few sometimes even,
mm.
right? And I think all this is useful, and I think in the past maybe you feel like, okay, maybe you went about it strategically where you say like, okay, I can, what am I good at? I'm good at singing, so I'm good at act outs, so I'm gonna have act outs in my joke. I'm gonna have singing in my joke. But now you
Yeah,
discovered like, oh, okay, I can also rant. I can
yeah,
also, I'm also good at finding words at a spur of the moment, and that could help me to write as well. So I think like, yeah, you're exploring a new side that it's
yeah.
like, yeah, it's good.
And again, all it took was a global pandemic to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah,
It-
okay. Back on your live streams, right?
uh-huh.
So have you? I've always wanted to ask you because you've been doing all these interviews quite intensively now. Would you consider like a career as a broadcaster, like as a like if after this right, BFM comes to you and says, "Oh, Sim, would you like to like be one of our radio jocks and like interview some of these guests and all that?" Like, would you feel comfortable taking on that kind of role as like a professional broadcaster
The
interviewer kind of thing?
the self-conscious part of me would say no first.
Yeah.
But then there's also the part of me that I'm learning to kind of grow, which would be like, just don't be afraid, just give it a try. What's the worst that can happen? They fire you lah.
Yeah, lah,
So
right.
what? So
They're
what?
already
You
willing to
back,
pay you. Like,
yeah. So you're back to where you were anyway. So what's wrong
yeah.
with that? So
It's like,
it's just the ego lah. The ego can't take
yeah,
it sometimes, right? It's like,
yeah,
but if you put aside the ego, I think like, yeah, nobody's gonna remember. Yeah.
yeah. It's like I didn't screw up the job. You hired the wrong guy. This sounds like a
Yeah.
human resource issue.
Yeah. It's your fuck up.
It's your fuck up. What do you see in me? God damn it.
Yeah, but yeah, I that's how I try to look at it. But that's me saying this in this hypothetical situation that you put
Yeah,
up. But
yeah.
on that day, I would be a lot more chicken there, and then I have to really man up lah. Yeah, um,
Because
yeah,
it's different. It's different, right? Like when you do the first two or three, it's really fun, and you're like, oh, I want to do more of this. But when when you commit to doing it every day, well,
yeah,
that becomes it becomes a job like, it becomes almost tedious like I did the
yeah,
live stream thing with Mike and Nuha. Initially we were doing it every day.
right,
Within a week I broke. I think within a week or less than 2 weeks I broke, because I was like I couldn't figure out why I was burnt out.
Mhm.
And then again it was like in the spur of a moment, then it dawned on me that and I told this to Nuha. Because she asked me, are you burnt out? Like, I was like, I think I am. And I was like, but what caused it? I was like, I don't know. I was like, oh, now I know. It's like, this is the first time in my life ever, for such a period of time, I've had to socialize so much.
right.
It's the first time in my life I've never been left alone for like an extended period of time, or I've like had breaks in between.
You
Because,
kind of
right?
did it to yourself as well
Yeah, I
because
did it to myself.
you
So
know why?
like,
Because you were on everybody else's stream as well.
exactly. Exactly. So as if that wasn't bad enough, I'm like holed up at home. I got my whole family with me, and I'm the type where like it's not enough for me to be in my room. Like,
Yeah.
no, I need like the whole vicinity to be cleared out. There must be no one breathing within like 50 meters of me. Then I feel like secure. I'm that kind of hermit lah. When my wife says like, oh, we're gonna take the kids back balik kampung, I said, you go ahead. She's like, you gonna miss me? I said, no. It's like, I don't call, I don't ask them to text me, like I don't answer messages. I just clam up at home. The only time I talk is when I go out and I order like McDonald's drive-through or something like that. Other than that,
Steven,
zero. Yeah,
the
zero
correct answer
conversation.
is the correct answer is yes, Stephen.
But yeah, yeah lah. It was then that it dawned on me lah. That was like, oh yeah, I'm socializing too much, and and it's so screwed up because like this MCO period is a time where everyone is complaining that they're not socializing enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Not able to go out. I was like,
Right.
I'm having this like
But-
weird problem.
But you are right. It can get tedious, and if you have to do it as an everyday thing in the long run, because you just have to. I guess you have to be taking it as the mindset that this is not a hobby, this is not for fun, this is a job. You're gonna hate it, but you're gonna do it. Yeah, a little bit like that, lah. Like this whole like you gotta love your find the thing that you love to do, and you never have to work a day in your life. I feel like it's a bit idealistic, lah.
It's pretentious, right? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
agree.
So I think some people are starting to maybe like some people are like, oh, you're doing this for how many episodes already? They ask me like, I just been doing it every day. It's just like because the way I'm doing it is also an easy way of doing it, right? So I'm just like, okay, just come on. How was your day? And then like they say, this is how it's been, and then off we go, right? We have a conversation.
Yeah.
So it's been easy, and I don't know if I'm good at it. I still don't know. I feel like sometimes I feel like I am. Sometimes I feel like, oh, this guy is telling me this thing. It's like it's almost like a secret, right? I'm like, why is he
Yeah.
telling me this, right? But maybe it's maybe it's I give credit to the two people format where you it's just one person talking to one person, and people let their guards down when that happens.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe that's a side of me that that people that gets people to let their guards down a little bit. I don't know. But and then the other day someone asked me like, how do you get Paul Ogata? Because I got Paul Ogata on, right?
Right.
And that's when
Everyone was like, what?
that's when everybody took notice. I was so afraid that there would be no one there uh, in the um, in the audience, right?
Yeah.
And then Paul Gatta would show up, and it'd be like me and my wife watching, and then there would be no comments, you know. So I was so afraid. So I went on the WhatsApp group and was like, okay, I'm talking to Paul Ogata. Anybody want to ask him any
Oh,
questions? Just
that's why you promoted.
yeah. So I was so afraid. I went there and did that, and it seemed a bit like I was showing off. It's like, yeah, I got Paul Ogata. Fuck
Yeah.
you guys, right? That wasn't the intention, but like I was
Yeah.
like really afraid that like nobody would be watching it. But so somebody asked me like, how did you get Paul Ogata? And actually, it's the same way I've been getting all my guesses. I would like, I'm just, I'm. It's not like my title of my show is checking in on funny people, right? But I genuinely are checking in on funny people. I would message them and say, hey, over here, this is what's happening over here. What's happening over there? Like
Yeah.
are you okay? Because some people are cooped up at home, and yeah, so just asking this question, and then also like I would, when I talk about what's going on over here, we've been under lockdown. A lot of comedians are taking to live stream. I have one as well. And then I would mention that, mine is called Checking In on Funny People. If you would like to come on a chat, just come on. Otherwise, no worries.
No pressure, lah. No pressure.
Yeah. Otherwise, no worries. I'm just happy to know that you're okay. So a little bit like that. Basically, the secret is kindness, lah. Right? Basically, the secret is just caring about people. Yeah.
Has anyone turned you down yet?
There's been a few people who didn't really want to chat, not because they didn't want to be on a live stream, but because I guess they want to be by themselves, I guess.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
And then I would be like, so are you okay? And then like, that's the end of the conversation.
Well, fuck you too.
Yeah.
I got Paul Gata. Who are you?
No. But yeah, there are, yeah. But this whole thing has been like just like that, and I wonder if like this is such a silly format for a show where you're just like checking in on people. It's like, how, like, you can't sell that to a TV studio. Like, I'm just gonna call my friends and check in on them, right? But for this pandemic, it seemed appropriate, so I did that, and I have no idea like how to keep it up when the pandemic is over. But maybe, hey, how are you? It's like, why are you calling me?
That's part of the beauty and the freedom of doing this stuff online, right? Because like, it's not like you have a TV network pressuring you, like, say, okay, so we need like an episode every day from you from here on from this day to this day. No one is pressuring you. The moment you're like, you know what, I'm done. I've talked to all my friends. I got no more friends. I'm done. Or the moment you're like, oh, I want to do this like twice a week. Cool. It's up to you. It's really up to you. And like the thing is that, like, I am a big fan of like all these like Joe Rogan podcasts and Mark Maron and all these guys, right? And also a big fan of Conan O'Brien's. But Conan O'Brien's podcast is one of those that's like very produced, very polished kind of thing. But the ones I really look up to is like the Joe Rogan and Mark Maron ones, because like it really is just people doing something they enjoy doing, doing it consistently, and doing it over a long period of time.
Right.
And they might have gotten won over their viewers one at a time, and over the long run, like it's like MLM lah. Your downline build, and then people start gaining an audience. And I mean, I'm sure there are guys who've been doing like podcasts just as long as them and have got like nada, like still don't have a following or whatever. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
these are the guys I look up to, and I look at them. I'm now like, you know what? They've been doing this shtick for like over a decade now. Some like more than a decade, and maybe two, and like they started at a time when the internet was still like a relatively new thing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
That's true as
So
well.
like there was less content, and people, the fact that they would draw an audience more easily lah.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm coming in now,
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
I'm at a severe disadvantage in terms of like, because internet is like the norm and there's so much more going on out there. But the one thing that I know I have like great control of is just continuing to do it, and just keep doing it and putting it out there lah. And
I did.
that's all I can really do. Yeah.
Yeah, I did think about replacing the podcast at one point. Like, because I got so excited with the live stream, I was like, oh, okay, I can just talk into this thing, and there's a video, and it goes live,
Yeah.
and then there's a video after that that stays on, and I can
Yeah.
do whatever I want with the video. I can, take out the audio and put it into a podcast. That I did think about that, and then in the end, I thought like, no, I can't replace the podcast, because the podcast is this. The way that things have grown now, the live stream is this place where I talk to a certain group of people, a small group of people, including my wife. My wife comes
Yeah.
on and says hi. At least I know she's on at the beginning of the shows. And the podcast is just this place that I can talk to, and I have no idea who is listening to it. And I like that,
Yeah.
because like I can just be myself. I'm like, I have no idea who's out there. It's just like this, like you say, is the abyss, right?
Yeah.
Is the void. I just shout into the void, and as far as I know, my wife can't be bothered to listen to it, because it's it's too boring for her.
It's too good. That's the best part. That's the
That's the
best
best part. That's the best part. And the live stream is not that. The live stream is not that. The live stream is, I can see the people logging on, and then I'm like, oh, Fiona is on. Oh, Richard is on. Oh, Seeming is
Right.
on. And that is different. And then they get in my head a little bit, I feel like. So the podcast still has its own place for me. And you were talking about joke writing, and I feel like maybe like we all have our own system. We all have our own assembly lines of maybe material or joke or stories, where it's like maybe the first one is the podcast, and then after that it's like we take it and do the shout into the live stream for an hour thing, and then from there we take it to like, okay, now we got some structure, and we do like a 15-minute set, somewhere, or we set up our own show. And then maybe from there we like, oh, okay, this and this can go together, and then from there we build an hour, maybe. Yeah, so maybe that's like this assembly line where we have several layers of filters, where we filter like, oh, okay, this is a little bit funny, can go into here. Oh, this one is even more funny, can go into here. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you though. So now that you've identified that, okay, one, that you enjoy talking to others, like the checking in funny people, you genuinely enjoy that whole process, the whole chat and all that, right?
Yeah.
But also you understand you enjoy the single man shouting to the biz thing, because there's no audience, right?
Right.
There's no one right there.
Yeah.
So would you end up exploring something like what I am doing right now with this like one-to-one chat with no audience, and then just post it later as
Like this interview that we're doing right now.
yeah? Would you steal my idea? Is what I'm asking you, Sim Tong.
Uh,
No, just kidding.
it is. I do see the advantages of it. You know what? We've been talking for like an hour and a half, right? And I didn't notice any like thing happening like in the live stream where you don't hear me or I don't hear you for a minute.
All right, suddenly there's like no issues, right?
Yeah, there's no internet issues at all, and I do like this. Yeah.
Yeah, and but I don't know whether it's because of the hour we're doing this, because we're doing this like at night. But I think there should be quite a lot of internet traffic at this hour, right?
It could be the hour, but it's not that late. I think what it is like when you're streaming, it's like my computer has to send to the
send everything to
internet,
StreamYard, then StreamYard
and
has to
then
broadcast
you
it.
have to send stuff to StreamYard, and then or to Facebook, and then Facebook has to send it back send it back,
Yeah.
right? Whereas
Yeah.
this one maybe it's just like, oh, okay, these two computers just need to talk to each other. We don't need like a million computers talking to each other.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little bit like that.
Yeah.
So
Lighten the load.
I do like that we don't have that lag. Uh, I do like that part, but I'm not sure whether I really have enough time for so many layers in my assembly line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know,
It's
I
like,
know.
yeah. So
Yeah.
right now the live stream does serve its purpose, but I'll tell you a story about the lag. I don't know if I
Mm.
told you this one before, but sometimes I interview someone, right? Or I'm just having a chat with someone and I'm asking a question and then they are giving an answer. And sometimes the internet cuts out for a bit and I'm just like, okay. And then it comes back, right? And then I'm like, I catch up with the answer. I'm like, oh, okay, I know what they're saying here. Okay, move on. Or I know what to do, right? I know what they just said. So I just, my way of dealing with it is I just make this face like I'm listening intently. And then it's like, oh, he came back. Okay, right. I've been listening this whole time. You know, I'm right with you. I'm right with you. But sometimes the internet cuts out for a whole minute. And then I've been making the face for a minute. And then, and then they come back. And then I'm like, oh, there's no way I can just, I don't want to kill the flow of the
You
show. I
can't
don't want to,
recover, but you can't
right.
recover from that, right? Yeah.
I don't want to like every third question ask them to repeat themselves, right? They'll
Yeah.
be like, what the hell is this, right? So I'm gonna kill the mood. So I'm like, I just move on to the next question. I just pretend like Okay, all right. Move on to the next question. I pretend like I listened and I heard the answer, and then I go back and watch the video of the live stream later, and I was like, I look like such a dick, you know, because like they give like this really they give like this really poignant answer, or like it's like they go into like a very like a personal story, sort of like really touching, or they were saying something really profound. And then I'm just moving on to the next question. Like I'm just like,
Oh
oh,
my god.
so what else have you been watching on Netflix? And then
I got involved in this car accident that changed my life. Goes off, comes
yeah,
back. So yeah, have you seen Tiger King?
exactly.
Oh my
So
god.
like that I don't miss about the live stream. Yeah. So that is why like I noticed that, wow, this chat has been going on so well without
So
that,
well,
you
right?
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's okay? You know what's weird as well? Your approach to that problem on the live stream, because like most people would address, okay, shit, the internet's being like iffy, right? So when the guy comes back, hey, okay, I lost you from where? Can you continue from there, right? But you are willing to like just move on, because okay, and here's where it's weird, right? Because you are not the one whose internet went away, right?
Yeah,
You're still there. You're still live. You're still live, along with your entire audience, and they're watching, and they're like, okay, Sim is just like remaining still for a minute, waiting for this guy to come back, and how is it that like Sim
Yeah.
heard what he said and moved on when we didn't hear anything at all?
Right. I thought I fooled the guests and the audience, but
Yeah.
actually the audience is like, we see what's going on
We
here.
see
This
what's
guy
going on.
can't fool us.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
dude.
right. When I watched back, and then I didn't know this. Like for the first few interviews, even the one with you
Yeah.
in it, I was being such a dick in it. You know, I was like,
Really?
you were
I thought
being
you were fine.
no, but you were being funny, and I was like not laughing at your jokes. And then I was like, what is wrong with me? And after a while, I realized like, oh, it's the internet. It's not my fault. For
Yeah.
a long time, I thought like, okay, I'm not paying enough attention. I need to be a better listener, which is true.
Yeah.
Until today, I still feel like I need to be a better listener. I need to be less distracted by the comments. I need
Yeah.
to calm down about the viewers and the comments, and also the number of viewers watching. I
Oh
feel like I should
yeah.
just I feel like I should just take some scotch tape and put a piece of
Just
paper and
tape it.
tape
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
and not look at that number. And
Yeah.
and then I would be so much better at doing that, doing the chat.
Yeah.
And I need to calm down about this the comments and just come back to it periodically rather than, oh, somebody said something. And it's just like,
right. I get what you mean.
know, it's like Paul Augusta's telling you like this funny story, and you're like, oh, look, Richard just said something. You're like, calm down, Sim, calm down. You don't be time for that. Yeah, so I do feel like this the first few interviews, like the one with you in it, I felt like I was so bad at it, and in fact, I want to ask you back on so that like we can have another chat.
Yeah,
And
anytime,
I was,
man, anytime.
yeah. So maybe sometime this week I'll ask you on.
Can.
Yeah, and I feel like I wanna redo that one. No. We will have. I know that we will have a totally different
Yeah,
conversation
it's like
now.
now with new laughs by Sim Tong.
No, yeah. So it's like, yeah. Then when I watch back, and I realized, like, at first, like I was like, okay, I was a bad listener, and then I was like, wait a minute. Even in the playback video, it's like this guy is not talking, or this person's not talking, and I'm like, oh, okay. So this is what the viewers are seeing. So I'm like, idiot. Yeah.
Oh my god! But yeah, it's the internet lag, right? That shit is real, man. That shit is very real.
I think Mike and Nuha told me like, just calm down and just set up the expectations at the beginning and
Yeah.
tell the person, like, the internet cuts out every now and then. It's just the way it is, and I might have to ask you to repeat yourself now and then, and so that should cut down my pretending listening thing.
Yeah, dude. Because like one of my favorite moments of this MCO with like internet dropouts, right, was when you had Kavin and Papi on your show.
Yeah, I was
you
exactly
guys were-
explaining this to them. I was explaining exactly this to them, and then my face was like, and then Kavin was like being sympathetic, and he was like,
He went on for a while.
yeah, he went on for a while. He was like trying to console me, He was like, yeah, it's not your fault, it's just the way the internet is, I'm sure you have very good internet at home. I do too, but still, this still happens. So yeah, just don't worry about that. And he's like, Zach, is he making that face or is he frozen?
And then right after that, you just completely drop out from the street.
Yeah. It was like, it was like, on hindsight, I'm like, wow, it's almost like I planned it, but
exactly.
I didn't, I was like, I wonder if people think I planned it, because I totally didn't. But like, if I did, I would be such a genius, right?
Right? Oh my god, it was so perfect, man. When you talk about comedic timing from the blessed from the universe, right? That was it, lah. That was it. You freezing at the right expression. Zach, Kavin going on and being sympathetic, that whole tangent he was on, and after that the realization and then disappearing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, I guess this is the Puppy and Grumpy stream now.
Right. He was like, him in his brain, he must be like, oh, poor Sim, He's like, let me console him a bit, and then he was like explaining. Like, is he making that face? And in his brain, he must be like, fuck this guy, man. I've been like being sympathetic for the past 5 minutes, and he's playing this stupid prank on me.
Yeah, like, oh gosh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. All right, dude, we've been on for like an hour, an hour 40 plus already.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good, man. Right, I think let's wrap it up here. We can talk more lah after we wrap it up.
For another hour and a half. Yeah,
for another hour and a half, right? Right. So guys, this is I guess I'm back with this format for a while. Well, this MCO is going
I forgot
on.
we are on video. Yes.
Yeah. That's a good thing. Right. So do check out Sim Tong's live stream. It's called Checking In on Funny People. For during this MCO period, he's doing it every day from 2 p.m. onwards, right?
Yep. 2 p.m.
So go check it out at his Facebook page, Sim Tong Comedy. Is that right?
Facebook.com/Simtong Comedy. Yeah. And usually it runs for about an hour, except when I talk to Stephen Bones, then it runs for 2.5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we finish the stream, and then we talk for another 2 hours afterwards.
Yeah.
Right, but so yeah, I'll put like the links to Sim Tong's Facebook and stuff in the description, so please look out for it down there, and please stay safe, stay sanitized, and yeah, Sim Tong, thank you so much once again. coming on
Oh,
doing this,
thanks.
man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, you've just kickstarted a whole bunch of like more comedians talking to people
Yay, it works.
content. Yay, yay.
Cool. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed myself.
Right,
And
cheers, man.
everybody take care.
Right, thanks.